There are truths no one wants to hear. Truths that can set you free or break you. You will never see yourself as you truly are. No one will ever fully understand you. Your own brain lies to you every single day. But that's just the beginning. Reality is not what you think it is. And once you realize that, there's no going back. Today, you're going to uncover 10 shocking truths about life. Truths that could change the way you see everything. The only question is, are you ready to hear them? Stay until the end. This could change everything. Imagine standing in a room full of mirrors, but none of them reflect your true image. One is foggy, another is distorted, and another only shows a small fragment of you. That's the effect of your own perception. You will never see yourself exactly the way others see you. Social neuroscience shows that we live inside a perceptual bubble. Your brain filters information about who you are, creating an internal image that rarely matches reality. While you see yourself from the inside out, others see you from the outside in. Maybe you think you're funny, but your joke rubbed someone the wrong way. Maybe you feel invisible, but someone admires you in silence. The problem? Your mind lies to you every single day. Psychologist Carl Rogers called this the conflict between the real self and the perceived self. You've built an identity based on how you think you are, but others see nuances you'll never fully grasp. This means you might be pushing people away without realizing it, or being remembered for reasons you'll never know. So, if we can never truly see ourselves as we are, how can we ever evolve? No matter how hard you try to explain your feelings, there will always be a gap between what you feel and what others understand. Your pain, your joy, your memories, they all exist within an inner world that no one will ever fully access. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre once said, "Hell is other people, because in the end, we are never truly understood." Have you ever felt frustrated trying to express something that seems so clear to you, only to be completely misunderstood? That happens because everyone listens and interprets the world through their own emotional and cognitive filters. Science backs this up. Our brains don't process information objectively. They translate everything based on past experiences, beliefs, and emotions, which means that no one hears what you say. They hear what makes sense within their own reality. That's why sometimes we feel lonely, even in a crowded room. You can tell your story, but no one will ever see it through your eyes. And that raises a question. If no one can fully understand us, how do we build genuine connections? Do you trust your own thoughts? Do you believe your memories are faithful to what actually happened? What if I told you that your mind isn't a camera recording reality, but a flawed and easily manipulated storyteller? Neuroscience proves that our brains fill in gaps with invented data, creating false memories without us even realizing it. Elizabeth Loftus's research showed that people can be made to remember events that never actually happened. In other words, your past might contain details your brain made up without your permission. But it doesn't stop there. Your brain also distorts your emotions and perceptions of the present. It convinces you that your fears are bigger than they really are. It exaggerates failures and minimizes victories. It builds thought patterns that make you doubt yourself. What does this mean? That you might be living in a reality that isn't as real as you think. That your insecurities might not be based on facts, but on stories your brain tells you to protect you. So if our own minds can deceive us, how can we trust what we think about ourselves and the world? Have you ever told yourself, once I get that, then I'll be happy? Maybe when you finally get the perfect job, the dream house, the right relationship, or financial freedom. But what happens when you actually get those things? The excitement fades fast. Your mind quickly moves on to the next goal, and suddenly, that same emptiness creeps back in. This phenomenon has a name: hedonic adaptation. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman found that our happiness tends to return to a baseline level, no matter what happens. Meaning, you won't feel as happy as you imagine when you achieve your goals, nor as miserable as you fear when you fail. The real problem? Society teaches us that happiness is something we reach in the future, when in reality, it only exists in the present moment. If happiness isn't something waiting for us down the road, how can we find it right now? Since childhood, we've been taught to believe that our effort and choices determine our destiny. But how true is that, really? Philosopher Nassim Taleb argues that luck plays a far bigger role in life than we'd like to admit. You were born in a specific country, in a specific time, to parents you didn't choose, with genetics that shaped your intelligence, health, and personality. All of this was decided before you even took your first step. Studies show that even financial success is largely a product of chance. Research from the University of Catania used statistical simulations to reveal that the wealthiest individuals weren't the most talented. They were simply the ones who had the best mix of luck and opportunity. Does that mean we're just at the mercy of fate? Not exactly. But ignoring the role of luck can lead to arrogance, while understanding it can cultivate humility and resilience. If life is so influenced by chance, how can we use that to our advantage? If you disappeared today, how long would it take for your name to completely fade from people's memory? Your friends and family will remember you for a while, but as the decades pass, your name will become a distant echo, and one day there will be no one left who remembers you ever existed. The uncomfortable truth is that history swallows everything. Time erases names, achievements, and legacies. Even the greatest figures in history eventually become nothing more than footnotes. And if even the most legendary are forgotten, what does that mean for the rest of us? But here's the paradox. This realization can be freeing. If nothing we do is remembered forever, why waste time worrying about what others think? Why keep postponing life, waiting for the perfect moment? Forgetting is inevitable, but that also means you are free to live on your own terms. If you know you will be forgotten, how do you choose to live right now? How many times have you asked yourself, what is my purpose? But what if that very question is holding you back instead of setting you free? We've been led to believe that each of us has a grand, unique mission in life. But what if there's no fixed purpose waiting to be discovered? What if, instead, life is made up of small, meaningful moments we create along the way? Psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, argued that the meaning of life isn't something given to us. It's something we assign to our own experiences. When we believe we'll only feel complete once we find the big purpose, we end up overlooking the small moments that already bring meaning to life. A laugh with a friend, a creative project, an unexpected lesson. These are the real fragments of purpose. If purpose isn't something we find, but something we build, where are you failing to see meaning in your own life? Remember when you had to teach your parents or grandparents how to use a smartphone? Now look at the speed of technological progress. Who needs the explanations now? The cycle is always the same. The new replaces the old, and that includes you. Whether it's in the workplace, culture, trends, or even relationships, the world doesn't stop for anyone. What feels essential today might be irrelevant tomorrow. Technology advances, new generations rise, and slowly, your knowledge, your skills, and even your presence will be replaced. Sounds cruel? Maybe. But it's also an opportunity. Those who understand this truth don't cling to the past. They evolve, adapt, and reinvent themselves. If being replaced is inevitable, how can you ensure you'll always stay relevant? How many times have you worried about something that never actually happened, or tried to control a situation that was completely beyond your reach? The human brain hates uncertainty. To survive, it looks for patterns, tries to control reality, and convinces itself that it can predict and manage life's variables. The problem? that control is an illusion. Studies in cognitive psychology show that our sense of control doesn't come from reality. It comes from our psychological need to feel like we're in charge. The famous idea of controlling our destiny is often just a mental trick to ease our anxiety about the unpredictable. But here's the truth. Accepting that we can't control everything isn't a failure. It's freedom. Real strength comes from adaptation, not from trying to dominate everything around us. If control is an illusion, how can we embrace uncertainty to live with more ease? Religions promise an afterlife. Some philosophies suggest reincarnation. Physics explores the possibility of multiple realities. But the truth? None of us really know what happens after our final breath. The most likely possibility? The end is the end. That might sound terrifying, but it's also what makes life so intense. If we had the certainty of eternity, would we truly cherish each moment? Would we feel the urgency to love, create, experience, and grow? Nietzsche challenges us with his idea of eternal recurrence. If you had to live this same life over and over for eternity, would you be satisfied with your choices? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to start living in a way where the end isn't a regret, but an acceptance of the path you walked. If the end is inevitable, what are you going to do with the time you still have? Now that you know these 10 shocking truths about life, what's left? If everything we've talked about is true, then how should we live? If you will never see yourself the way others see you, then maybe obsessing over how you're perceived is a waste of time. Instead, focus on becoming someone you admire, regardless of external opinions. If you will never be fully understood, then absolute loneliness isn't a punishment, it's a natural part of being human. The key? Embrace imperfect connections instead of chasing complete understanding. If your brain lies to you every day, then stop believing everything you think. Question, reinterpret. Become the author of your own story instead of just a passive spectator. If happiness isn't a final destination, then stop waiting for some future moment to bring you fulfillment. Learn to find joy and meaning in the now. If luck and randomness shape your life more than you think, then arrogance is ignorance. What's left? Humility in the face of chance and resilience to make the most of the hand you've been dealt. If you will be forgotten, then live in a way that matters to you, not for the validation of others. Time won't preserve names, but each moment you live is yours forever. If the search for purpose can be a trap, then stop waiting for a grand mission to be revealed. Start creating your own meaning every single day. If you will be replaced, then instead of resisting change, become a master of adaptation. Only those who stop evolving become obsolete. If control is an illusion, then the secret to peace isn't in mastering the unpredictable, but in accepting uncertainty and moving with it, not against it. If the end of the story is probably the end, then life doesn't need some grand meaning to be valuable. What matters isn't how much time you have left, but what you do with it. So what does all of this teach us? That life isn't about finding absolute answers. It's about asking better questions and living each day as an answer in progress. Life is not a rehearsal. You don't get a second chance to live it. Now that these truths have been laid out, what will you do with them? If any of these reflections resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Which of these truths hit you the hardest? Or better yet, which one have you already felt in your own life? Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. And if this video brought you something valuable, let the algorithm know. Give it a like, because that helps spread this message to others who need to hear it. Now, if you want to keep expanding your mind and seeing reality for what it truly is, then subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications right now. Don't put it off. Every video here could bring you a new perspective that changes the way you see life. The next video might be exactly what you need to hear. You'll want to be here for it. Click the bell so YouTube notifies you as soon as the next video drops. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.